Chanley, I want to start with you. What do we know about Maggie and Paul's death investigation that reopened the case into Stephen Smith? What evidence has been made public at this point?
Great to be with you, Marni. All we know right now is that when the murders of Paul and Maggie Murdoch happened on June 7th, 2021, that something in that investigation into that double homicide led to SLED, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, to reopen the investigation into the death of Stephen Smith. What was that? We don't know for sure. I've spoken with Sandy Smith. She doesn't even know for sure what it was in that investigation into the Murdoch death that led to the reopening of her son's investigation, but it was something that spurred on those rumors that the Murdoch name kept coming up in Stephen Smith's investigation and still proliferates today in this story.
Joshua, it's a big deal anytime you exhume a body for all of the obvious reasons. It's a really troubling thing, but it also may help provide some answers and some clarity. When the family was curious and suspicious of the circumstances of his death, they started a GoFundMe to then start that process of exhuming his body. Now that it's considered a homicide by investigators, they will be approaching it that way. Will it be the responsibility of law enforcement to do that? Will they pick up the cost for exhuming the body? How do you expect that to play out?
I would expect that they would. If they're now saying that they're reopening this as a homicide investigation, well, then part of that investigation you would assume would be reevaluating the autopsy. If they feel that they have to go back in, that there's important evidence that they may have missed the first time around or something that needs to have a second look, you would think that that would be something they would take control of themselves. It's remarkable to me, too, at the speed at which this is moving at this point. That, we have a death from 2015. It's not till 2021 that they reopen it. But now within a couple of weeks, we're talking about exhuming the body and changing the manner of death. So you're going from what they believe to have been a hit and run accident to now labeling it as a homicide. So it's just remarkable, one, the updates on this, but how quickly they seem to be coming.
Chanley, the crime scene, which we now know it was a crime scene as they investigated as a homicide, didn't pass the smell test even then. I mean, the way that Stephen Smith's body was in the road, there were comments made about the fact his shoes were still on his feet. They were loosely tied. If it had been a hit and run, that wouldn't have been the case. Will investigators be called into question about labeling this a hit and run as soon as they did? What are you hearing from investigators at this point as they look into this case?
Yeah, absolutely. We know one of those initial investigators, Tommy Moore, has come out since he retired, saying that the evidence there at the scene where Stephen Smith's body was found did not match up with a traditional hit and run. There was no glass in the road, no skid marks from a vehicle in the road. The way Stephen Smith's body was positioned in the middle of the road did not align with a traditional hit and run. The fact that his car was found nearby, almost out of gas, but his cell phone was still in his car. All of that should have raised red flags early on to cause more of an investigation, which again goes back to what was it in those initial investigators that kept them possibly from doing their due diligence in the beginning.
The other thing, Chanley, many have been asking this, and I certainly was asking it while the trial was going on against Alec Murdoch, as we watched all the documentaries about the complexities of this case, is why did Alec Murdoch and his brother Randy show up to the scene of Stephen Smith's death all those years ago? Do we have an explanation for that? Have they ever answered that question?
We have heard that repeated over and over, how Randy, the older brother of Alec Murdoch, was on the scene allegedly hours, right after this happened. Stephen Smith's body was discovered, as well as Alec Murdoch himself there at the scene. And we've heard that two sides. Some say that was suspicious, that somehow they were there. The explanation that we've also been hearing is that the father of Stephen Smith was a client of the Murdoch law firm. He and PED had actually reached out to them for help in this death, and that's why they showed up. Will we have the true answers one day, Marni?
The other thing, Joshua, and this was big news this week, is Buster Murdoch spoke about this case and rumors about any involvement he may have had. He denies any involvement, said he had nothing to do with it. There is no evidence that we know about that links him to this, yet he did come forth with some information to defend himself. What do you make of that? And two, will investigators now be questioning him about any relationship or contact he had with Stephen Smith in the weeks and months leading up to Stephen's death?
You know, it's strange. As you point out, there hasn't been anything released from law enforcement that says that they believe that Buster or any of the Murdochs are somehow a suspect in all of this. But that family does seem to be intertwined with this entire investigation, from them appearing on scene and contacting family members back at the time of his death, from being interviewed by police at the time of his death, and then even how they've handled the investigation. The fact that they reopened it upon the arrest of Alec Murdoch for the death of his wife and child. And then they decide to exhume the body and declare it a homicide after his conviction. It just seems every step of the way, this family somehow is playing a role in this man's death.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.